Welcome back to today's Chrissy B show, everybody. So now I'm joined by nutritionist Hannah Richards to tell us about a good cause she supports called the Felix Project. Now this collects fresh, nutritious food that cannot be sold and delivers the surplus food to charities so they can provide healthy meals and help the most vulnerable in our society. And she's also brought on Representative Anne Elkins to tell us more. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
So let's start. Well, we'll start with Anne today, first of all, and then you can tell us what it's like to actually volunteer for this lovely project.
Absolutely.
So Anne, tell us about the Felix Project. How did it come about?
Felix Project is a charity that was founded in 2016 by the parents of a young boy who died at the age of 14 of a rare strain of meningitis. Okay. They wanted to do something to create a legacy in his name. Yeah. So he was a very compassionate boy and he really loved his food. And they came across this project in Oxford called the Oxford Food Bank and thought, right, that's what we want to do, but we want to do it in London. Okay. So the Felix Project, basically, we have a fleet of vans and we work with the food industry to re-divert food that would otherwise be wasted, and we deliver that food to charities and primary schools who make sure that it's put to good use.
Wonderful. Yeah. And what's the progress been like with this? How's it going?
Oh, phenomenal. We started in March 2016 with one person and one van and a handful of volunteers and a handful of suppliers and charities, and we've got over 230 charities and schools that we deliver to on a weekly basis.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow.
We divert 5.5 tons of food every day to charities and schools, and we work with over 400 volunteers now, like Hannah.
Yeah, so Hannah, tell us about volunteering. How did you get involved with this?
I got Dalesford in London were doing an event, and I'd read an article about the Felix Project probably in 2016, and so decided to join. Met a great guy called Marcus who got me involved in the evening shifts. So we pick up a van, I do a shift in Notting Hill, and we have a co-driver, and we go round to the cafes that can't sell, the closing at 8, let's say. We pick up the food and then we deliver it to various different places in that evening. And the evening shifts run every night of the week in central London.
What do you love about this volunteer work that you're doing?
It's just, I don't know, I can't explain it. The evening shifts, they're really, you just get a real buzz. It's the people that you meet. It's always someone new on when you're volunteering. Yeah. It's a sense of giving back, helping. Yeah. And I really look forward to doing them. Well,
you can tell how much you like it because your whole face lights up when you speak about it. So it's really nice.
So, and there are lots of other things that you can volunteer in. For example, we've got the marathon that people can volunteer in, the London Marathon, which is in April this year. But there's lots of other things that you can get involved in and volunteer, not just the evening shifts.
It's really lovely what you said, and lots of our volunteers say that they love it so much because it's a real hands-on experience. So if you're out there in the van, either driving or being a co-driver, you're actually going to suppliers and taking the food that they can't sell from them and then actually giving it to charities and schools. So it's a really...
Such an important thing.
Yeah, I mean...
It's solving like so many problems, isn't it?
Exactly. It's like a really simple solution. There's 1.9 million tonnes of avoidable food waste created by the UK food industry every year, and we're just scratching the surface, but to see some of that food going to places that really put it to good use and support really vulnerable people in our city is it's a great thing to get involved with.
How can people actually get involved in if they want to volunteer?
Visit our website, which is www.thefelixproject.org, and just click on the volunteer button. We're always looking for people to help. We've got a warehouse in West London, a warehouse in North London, and as Hannah said, we've got shifts in central London which run in the evening, so if you're working Monday to Friday you can still help. We've also got shifts on a Saturday. We also have volunteers that help us do all kinds of things, from events to marketing to administration. I mean, with over 400 volunteers, we really try to get our volunteers involved in as much as we can.
Sounds amazing. I'd love to film it one day, so do tell us
more.
Please
come along. You're more than welcome.
Come on, do an evening shift.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you so much, Anne, for coming and telling us a bit more about it. And Hannah, you're not going away yet because you're going to show us how to make something with leftovers and something not to waste.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, so we'll see you in a second. Okay, Hannah, so what are we making then today?
Well, today, Chrissy, we're going to make some kale snacks. So you know when you do your cold press juicing and you end up with all the, this is the pulp from the cold press juice. So this is kale, and it doesn't yield a lot of juice because it's quite thick and it's quite bitter. But so I've done a whole bag of kale and parsley, and then this is the leftover bits.
Okay.
So they're really simple and easy to make. I'm going to put this in the blender and then add some little bits and pieces. And I'm going to ask you to cut the broccoli stalk just in, sort of disc size, 1/2 centimetre. This is a very tiny blender, but
it's cute. I love it.
It's cute, baby blender. We should be able to get everything in. So this is a bunch of kale and a bunch of parsley. I'm going to add some ground flaxseed. And this is just to add flavour to the cracker and to thicken it up as well. So I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of that. A little pinch of sea salt, any sea salt, Celtic sea salt, Himalayan salt, pink salt, whatever takes your fancy. Here we've got some nutritional yeast. Again, it's just a bit of a thickener. We've got some chia seeds.
Let's just move that out of the way so we can see well.
Some chia seeds. You could use sesame seeds, you could use poppy seeds. Again, it's just sort of to add. And then a little bit of water. So just to make sure it blends well together. So you'll probably just have to sort of see the consistency when you're doing this yourself to see how much water you'll need. Okie dokie, so lid on. Okay, so just give it a, that's nice and wet. So it wants to have a sort of a wet consistency. See that, Chrissy? Yeah. Because we're just going to now flatten that down so we can remove our kale. Okie dokie. Don't need them. Great. Okay, so sometimes sometimes people don't really like stalks on broccoli, do they?
I love it. I think it's really tasty.
So what you can do, this is celery salt. You can either use celery salt or sea salt and just dip the broccoli stalk in either of them, and it's a nice little snack.
It is indeed.
And it's also really good with just with sea salt on its own. Okay, so all we're going to do is take out the pulp, all being now mixed together. And all you do, so you can make these in a dehydrator if you had a dehydrator at home, but it does take a long time. So you can put these in the oven on a low heat, probably about 140 for about 2 hours, and you'll have crackers. Now, it doesn't look that appetizing at the moment, but trust me, they taste really good. So all you do with the back of a spoon is you just press it down. And this, it's not going to make a lot, but it's amazing. This is the wastage.
Which would have gone in the bin.
Which would have gone in the bin, So you could make fritters in a pan with coconut oil with your food pulp. You could thicken up a soup with your food pulp.
That's true.
So there we go. I mean, it's that simple.
And then you just cut little...
And then, just, you don't want them too thin. But there we go. Looks quite nice.
It does.
So you just put that in the oven, and then you can decide what shape your crackers are going to be. Yeah. So we put them in the oven. There we go.
And here's one you made earlier.
And here's some I made earlier. So then you bring them out. These are and try one. Kale crisps.
Lovely. I like this.
Bit of hummus.
Yeah.
Or some olives. And you've got your own crackers.
Very nice. Hannah, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
No excuse to waste food, is there?
There's absolutely zero.
Yeah.
We spend too much time throwing food out that we haven't even eaten. in plastic wrappers. We really need to start taking a bit more responsibility for the amount of food that we throw out.
Thank you so much, my
Pleasure.
darling. We'll see you again very soon.
Absolutely.
And guys, now it's time to go to my final thoughts of the day. Thank you very much to all my guests that we've had on today's program, and we've certainly had a lot of laughs behind the scenes as well. Now, there is something that I'd like to comment on from today's program, where we were discussing childhood trauma and, you know, anything that basically you've been through in the past. Many times, things that you've been through in your past can't just be swept under the carpet. As much as we like to kind of push these painful thoughts aside and we don't want to deal with them, they do actually tend to keep popping up and affect us and our behaviour. So you might think that, for example, you've gotten over a certain situation, or maybe you just don't want to think about it, and you think it's fine, as long as I don't think about it, as long as I sweep it under the carpet, everything's going to be fine. But you don't actually realise that those things that you've been through can actually be shaping your reactions to things, the way you see other people, certain behaviours that you might have. So for example, if you're a person that flies off the handle, that gets really angry about things all of a sudden, or there's certain subjects that come up that make you feel really uncomfortable and affect your mood, those things need to be addressed. You can't just say, oh, this is nothing, this is, oh, I'm just having a bad day. It's not. It's probably because of something that you've been through. And as long as those things aren't addressed and dealt with, it will be a pattern for you. Maybe you've had failed relationships because of what's happened in your past. Maybe you keep losing jobs because of what's happened in your past. So it is very important that if you have these recurring feelings and outbursts of anger, for example, anything like that, though it might be painful to go back to your past, but if you do it in more of an analytical way, thinking, okay, I'm going to go back and think about what happened, not to get emotional about it and, you know, to relive the past, but actually see where it all started, so that you can actually start getting some help through those issues. So that would be my advice. Don't just, you know, try to ignore something that's there. It needs to be dealt with, and the sooner you do, the sooner that you can move on with your life and be happy. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share, please do get in touch with us by emailing us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet or Instagram us @ChrissyBShow, or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And if you'd like to know more about my mental health journey, visit mylifeafterdepression.com. Till next time, bye for now. Don't look at him, it's going to make it worse. You have to look away because...
Unbelievable. One job. Sorry.
So now we are in our... Where are we? Would you call this a clinic? I'm sorry. Sorry.
We're in the vegetable shop. In the fruit and veg.
Well, everyone, after the break, we speak to... Ow, I bit myself. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see it. I was, yeah.
Get involved in events, so there's a lot.
That's why I was like...
Or you can run in the big half if you like, which was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. You look really enthusiastic.
Yeah, I'll show you how it's
Oh,
done.
I'm professional too.
I'm the professional nodder. So just, oh God.